friends, our travels today take us to what is called Little Sofia, and it's in the Turkish city of Iznik, which was formerly called Nicea. And that word should immediately remind us of something that happened there, the famous Nicene Council, where the original Nicene Creed was first created. This is what remains of that site. There's a large old building here that has been repaired and added on to many times. But it's very likely that this area, this old area that we're in now, is part of the original structure. And this is where the Nicene Council met. This would be the front, perhaps, we don't know, perhaps the pulpit area or the lectern. The choir area back here, which might be Byzantine. But this is the oldest building in the city. It's one that has the capacity to contain the 300 delegates that would have come, and the many more that, according to history, monks that were on the courtyard outside. So we could have easily up to 2,000 people on this site for this great event. Little Sophia. And Sophia was the goddess of wisdom, worldly wisdom. And that was going to take place at this council when worldly wisdom invaded the church, and the church married with state under Constantine in an attempt to solve the problems that they had. So Constantine and the bishops of the time assembled here. The church age that this took place in started in 312 with the Edict of Milan, which gave permission for Christians to worship legally in the Roman Empire. That was also the year that they say Constantine converted to Christianity. It was some years later, in 325, that the Nicene Creed was hammered out here to solve the problem of an argument between two bishops, Arius and Athanasius. And they had a terrible argument over the nature of the Godhead and the identity of Jesus Christ. The question, was God one? Was God two? Was God three? And it was in the streets. And Constantine, understanding that his empire was fragile and was facing pressure and attacks from many sides, needed to have a strong empire. It was common for an emperor to tie religion into his governing practices to strengthen the empire. Was Constantine a Christian? Well, we might consider a few things. He confessed Christianity, but he was never baptized for many years until shortly before his death. If the Nicene Council was in 325, we find in 326 he executed his eldest son and his own wife without a trial, because they were suspected of an intrigue to place his eldest son on the throne. After the Nicene Council was signed, and Constantine, as the now protector of the church, ruled in favor of the doctrines of Athanasius, then proceeded to persecute all the followers of Arius, confiscated their books, took away their property, and disfellowshipped them from the church. So my question is, was Constantine the father of the Christian church, or was he the father of church persecution by the church? Christians persecuting Christians. This seems to be where it started, right in this time period, right in this era. As we drove into the city here, I asked our guide, there's a nice, beautiful lake out here. We're out here in January, it's rather cold, but this council didn't take place that time of year. It took place in the spring and the summer, where if an emperor wanted to invite bishops from all around the Christian world and show them a very beautiful place and a comfortable experience, this would be a nice choice that time of year. And if you read the histories, they had banquets, they had lush furnishings that an emperor could provide, and he's rolling out the welcome to the bishops of the church, at the same time trying to solve this problem that he had and trying to strengthen his empire. It all seems to make sense. This was a mistake. According to the Church Ages book, it was a mistake. And you can read about it in the first chapter, the revelation of Jesus Christ. It's in that chapter. It's also in the chapter on Pergamos, which traces all the history up to that point to culminate in this. So here we are, where it all started. The true church from that point on was underground, was harassed all throughout the Dark Ages, while the emperor and the emperors that followed him gave great donations, churches, buildings, all kinds of incentives, positions. The high position of a bishop could now be appointed by the emperors. And earlier when we were in Laodicea, we saw there they've just recently discovered a great, beautiful Christian church built by the donations of Constantine. So, here is our voices echoing from these walls, but at some time long ago, other voices echoed from these walls, and the decisions they made here echoed through the church ages. Until now, in this last time, the cover is ripped off. We know what happened there. And now we can be restored to the true faith, the faith in Jesus Christ, handed down by the apostles prior to Constantine, and the Nicene Creed that was signed right here.